The world's inherent darkness persists. I am compelled to recount a chilling narrative concerning a young man who embarked on a journey from his quaint village to a bustling nearby city. Despite his limited formal education, he possessed remarkable adaptability and an unwavering willingness to undertake any task with respect and gratitude. He spent an entire day traversing the city in a fruitless search for employment, yet his hopeful spirit remained undiminished. As nightfall descended, he sought refuge for rest. Upon approaching an apartment building, he was noticed by a security guard who inquired about his presence. The young man candidly explained his predicament to the middle-aged guard. Subsequently, the security guard directed him to a modest nearby dwelling, advising him to spend the night there and resume his search the following morning. The young man expressed his profound gratitude and accepted the keys. As he walked towards the residence, he distinctly heard someone call his name. "Dave! Dave!" He turned around, but saw no one. He experienced a profound sense of déjà vu, particularly as no one in the city, not even the security guard he had just spoken with, was privy to his name. Dave attempted to sleep, the rattling of the bed echoing his unease, his mind still preoccupied with the inexplicable incident. Eventually, he succumbed to sleep. He awoke early the following morning, thanked the security guard, and departed. He recommenced his job search, yet without success. However, the middle-aged security guard continued to offer assistance to Dave, recognizing a reflection of his own past struggles in the young man. The guard recalled how, upon his own arrival in the city, no one had offered him assistance. He resolved that Dave should not endure similar hardships. Conversely, Dave's hopes were beginning to wane. He was confronting the prospect of an insurmountable dead end. One evening, as Dave approached the security guard and another individual, he overheard their conversation. He discerned that the person speaking with the security guard was the apartment manager, who was inquiring about someone to maintain the apartment complex. Tasks such as tree trimming and collecting maintenance fees from tenants. Dave felt a pang of irritation towards the security guard for not having mentioned this opportunity earlier, given his desperate job search. However, the security guard attempted to persuade Dave otherwise. Dave, in his desperation, was unwilling to listen. The guard persisted in his attempts to convince Dave, alluding to a significant underlying reason, but to no avail. Dave was resolute in his need for any employment, as he was reaching a critical juncture. Dave himself approached the apartment manager, engaging in a discussion about the roles and responsibilities. The manager also informed him that he could reside in a room designated for apartment workers. Dave then went to the security guard's home to retrieve his belongings. He recounted everything to the guard, who once again tried to dissuade Dave from accepting the job. However, Dave took it. A month passed, and Dave settled into his new role, earning the respect and appreciation of everyone for his diligent work. Slowly, things began to change. One night, while Dave was in a deep sleep, someone demanded that he vacate the room, claiming it as their own. Dave was utterly bewildered. The same incident recurred on subsequent nights, leaving Dave increasingly perplexed, yet he confided in no one. Another night, in the darkness, he saw a figure aggressively approaching him, then sitting on his chest, demanding he leave their home. Dave was terrified and fled the room. After a few minutes, he regained his composure and sought out the security guard to inquire about the chaos unfolding around him. The guard, visibly terrified, confessed to Dave, "I tried everything to stop you, but you wouldn't listen. Now no one can do anything, as you have entered their territory and awakened them. Now everything rests in your hands." Dave remained unable to fully process the events, yet sought confirmation. Dev, on his knees, was simply performing his duty, having committed no wrong. Garud, the security guard, felt pity for Dev and offered him solace. He then posed a question to Dev. "Do you know why I choose to live in a cramped box of a room instead of residing away from this apartment complex?" "It's because I, too, am a victim of circumstances similar to what you are currently enduring. I faced identical situations previously. I wouldn't even recommend anyone to work here. That's precisely why I haven't suggested it to others. A few individuals who started working here tragically committed suicide because this territory and space are hers, untouchable. Should anything untoward occur, she cannot tolerate it, especially since her children are growing here. Dev, confused, inquired, "Who is she? I haven't seen anyone, and who are her children?" The security guard replied, "Dev, she is not human. She passed away 20 years ago." Terrified, Dev, with tears welling in his eyes, pleaded with Garud, "Please help me. What is her story? What did I do to harm her?" Garud, the security guard, began to explain clearly to Dev. "When I first started this security guard job, a newlywed couple moved into apartment number 116. They were wonderful people. The husband worked at a small company, as this city had not yet grown significantly. It was a small place comprising villages that were expanding very slowly. The couple was settling into their new apartment. The woman, Stella, became pregnant and was overjoyed at the prospect of welcoming a new life into the world. However, for unknown reasons, the baby died before birth. Stella and her husband were both devastated, hitting rock bottom. They tried everything, but the underlying problem remained unclear. Days passed, and Stella became pregnant again, only for the same tragedy to occur. The baby died before birth. People began to prod them about their misfortune, and both lost their happiness and their smiles. Residents in the apartment started ignoring Stella and her husband. Only the security guard would greet them, attempting to engage in conversation. 4 years into their marriage, Stella became pregnant once more. This time, under medical guidance, Stella's due date was approximately 25 days away. Her husband received a new job offer in another city, a position that could significantly improve their financial situation. Her husband did not want to leave her at such a critical time, but Stella convinced and urged him to go, promising he could return after 20 days, and they could then move from this apartment with their newborn twins. Yes, Stella was pregnant with twins, a boy and a girl. Her husband was persuaded and planned to depart the day after tomorrow for a 7-hour road journey. 10 days passed with them communicating via letters. On the 11th day, Stella began screaming. Apartment residents and the security guard rushed toward their apartment, but the door was locked. They were unable to open it, despite everyone trying. Suddenly, the screaming stopped. Residents continued their attempts, eventually deciding to break down the door. With all available tools, they managed to force it open after a few minutes. Some people were terrified by the sight. Stella's legs, hands, and neck were completely twisted. She was dead. Those who witnessed her body could not fathom how a human body could be contorted in such a manner. People started calling her husband, but he didn't answer his phone. The area where Stella's husband was located had been hit by continuous heavy rainfall for 48 hours. He learned of the news 3 days later, breaking down completely, and returned to retrieve her body, his heart heavy with grief. Dev was deeply saddened by the security guard's account. The guard then urged Dev to vacate the room immediately. Dev questioned him. "But why? She died in apartment No. 116. Why is she asking me to leave this lobby room now?" The guard then recounted a spine-chilling story. "As I told you, her husband arrived 3 days later to perform the final rituals. The apartment residents decided to place her body in a portable dead body freezer in the lobby. The police, also unfamiliar with such a case, were witnessing something for the first time. Back then, 20 years ago, we lacked the facilities available today, as they were discussing the early 1970s. After they kept Stella's body there, she began to manifest her presence throughout that lobby room, preventing anyone from entering. That's why she is asking you to move out." Dev, though beginning to understand, still sought clarification. What happened to Stella's husband, and how did Stella die in a locked room under such circumstances? Garud clearly told him, "Kid, this is a long story spanning 25 years. Move out of the room immediately, And I will tell you everything after a while. Dev complied with the security guard's instructions, awaiting the answers to his questions to comprehend all that had transpired in the apartment